Hello everyone, this is part 18 of What If Naruto was exiled after he brought Sasuke back, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Wave. Just get your people out of here, Tazuna. Head to Takagakure, Micah said to the bridge builder as they hurried to evacuate the village. Orochimaru and his force will be here and I would rather cut back on civilian casualties. But we can help, Inari said holding up his crossbow. Sorry kid. Naruto would kill me. This is a ninja battle. Destructive with high casualty rates. You need to get to safety, Micah said as he used his wind attacks to roll up large areas of dirt to make barricades and trenches. He'd landed hard outside Tazuna's house and after getting them to sound the village bell, he ordered everyone to evacuate. Villagers were leaving carrying what they could. Inari had a stubborn look on his face, so Micah did the only thing he could think of. He hit a pressure point and the young teen collapsed. Here, Micah said, lifting him and handing him to Tazuna. Get going, old man. Micah-kun, Tsunami said, looking at the young man she'd gotten to know briefly with Naruto. Go. Naruto considers you special to him, and I care for you as well as my time was brief. He smiled. Besides, when this is done, think of all the business you'll have, Tazuna. The bridge builder looked at him, then his eyes widened. No, not my bridge. I have two. Once you cross over, I need to collapse it. I need to force Orochimaru to use the mountain pass. If he crosses here, Konoha will not be ready. Tazuna looked at the bridge. Micah handed him a pouch. The gems in there, you can rebuild the whole village and be prosperous. Tazuna looked in and sputtered. There were nearly 20 gems an inch in diameter. I can't accept this. Take it. I'm blowing your bridge, might as well make sure it's money well spent. Micah said with a grin that reminded him of Naruto. Besides, we got more. Hunting was good for us. Micah said. Just hope Naruto and Q-sensei aren't pissed I gave away nearly all our funds from the Ester Sand hunt. But we still have the eggs and claws to trade in, not to mention the sand snake venom and other things. Micah thought of the scroll he'd left sealed with Naruto. Hope he finds it after this is over. Micah turned his head and felt the chakra presence in the distance of the approaching army. Showtime, he muttered, sparing a final glance at the villagers who crossed the bridge. Micah leapt into the air and used a treetop for cover. He needed to send the chakra pulse to set off the tags he'd planted on the bridge. Took all 1,000 of my tags, but it's got to be done, he thought as he waited. His mind, however, went back to the kiss from Nami again. They were so soft, he thought. A slight trickle of blood came from his nose. Orochimaru sat upon the sled, the dog-sized serpents pulling it. Sasuke and Sakura were on similar sleds. Standing with Orochimaru was a figure cloaked in black. Shadows like mist concealed the person's face. I want you to kill Tsunade, Orochimaru said to the person next to him. You've messed up too many plans over the years with your incompetence. I messed up nothing, Sannin. I am the most powerful sorcerer the world over. My master feels your worth his loaning you myself and giving you power, the figure said. Orochimaru sneered. You think yourself above your station, wizard. And my contract with the snakes allows me to understand you. Mess up again, Shang, and I will take your soul, and your master be damned. The cloaked figure said nothing. Orochimaru sent a look to Sakura, who nodded and pulled her sled nearer to Sasuke. Do you believe your servant will be able to deal with the sand ninjas? He can. His forces are large enough, and Suna has been weak for more than a decade, and their failure back in the Chunin exams hurt him even more. The snake Sannin said with confidence. You play a dangerous game, Sannin. My master expects results. Orochimaru laughed. You mean like his manipulating Akatsuki worked so well? I hear he lost Pain and his whore. Pain is where he's supposed to be, and when the time comes, my master will take his pawn and replace him with a Dark Queen. Orochimaru wasn't sure what that meant. The sorcerer still hadn't told him where Pain went after Akatsuki fell, and more to the point, the hidden master was still a mystery to the Sannin. It was the one flaw in his whole plan over the years. The sorcerer came to him all those years ago, and offered him his chance at immortality. The full pain handed me his body switching jutsu without complaint. Whomever this master is, he's more powerful than 10s class rogue ninja, and this fool of a sorcerer fears him as well, and I've seen his powers. Orochimaru was pulled out of his thoughts as they reached Wave. Look familiar, Sasuke-kun? The Sannin asked. HN. The Uchiha said. Looks like they recovered nicely. Sakura said. Orochimaru looked at her and hissed under his breath, seeing the forlorn look on her face. He knew about Team 7's mission in Wave. His spies had recorded everything. Nostalgia, Sasuke-kun? He asked. No, the place can burn for all I care, they're just farmers and cowards. Not a bad idea. Kenji, Toll. Orochimaru snapped and 2 of his guards appeared. Burn it. Order the men no prisoners, they are cowards after all. Hi Orochimaru. The Snake Sannin paused his sled and watched as his ninja entered many of the buildings. Strange, no one out and about. Sakura said. Orochimaru thought the same thing. He felt a blast of chakra as the first building exploded. Micah smiled from his position as he ignited the bombs he'd made. He smiled as the shrapnel bombs went off, killing dozens of Oto ninja each. Wave burned, but it was costing Orochimaru troops with each building. Just try to run, bastards. The Dragon Hanyu thought. Pull back. Orochimaru yelled as another building went up. Others tried to escape, but shrapnel bombs popped up from chakra sensitivity and exploded, killing more of his ninja. Orochimaru hissed in rage as more of his ninja were decimated. He pulled his sled back along with Sasuke, Sakura and the sorcerer Shang. Some of the ninja near the back of the army fled into the forest and were cut down by more traps. Hold your positions, Orochimaru ordered. They knew we were coming. Sasuke said in his superior tone. We made no secret of our approach. The Sannin said. They rigged the village and fled. Orochimaru shook his head. Forget this insignificant hamlet. Konoha waits for us. He motioned his army ahead and the fools crossed the bridge. Several hundred ninja were on the bridge when there was another pulse. Orochimaru, his lieutenants watched as the great Naruto bridge erupted. Sasuke blamed one person for this as it was raining Oto nin parts. Damn Dobe. Amongst the dunes, Naruto sneezed into his hand. Someone's pissed at me, he thought, looking over his shoulder to see Hinata blushing from the teasing of Tenten. Shaking his head, he grabbed his mechadisciple in each hand. Their weight were comforting and he took several deep breaths. Let's do this, he muttered and leapt up into the air, using the Vunla to enhance his leap even higher. While in the air he formed the familiar cross seal. Cage Bunshin. He yelled and the air filled with nearly 200 shadow clones, all of them coming down and armed with activated chakra blades in the middle of the enemy camp. Kakashi shook his head as he crested the dune, his kunai buried into the end of the perimeter guard. Some things never change, he muttered, seeing the blonde tear into the enemy. But he does know how to make an entrance. Itachi said. Hinata ignored them, her Byakugan eyes focusing on the path ahead and her hands striking lethally enemy nin that came between her and her goal of reaching her boyfriend, mate, whatever, he's mine and no one is stopping me. She thought with a Juken strike to the chest of Iriwa nin and watched as the ninja's sternum was destroyed. Jakela's strength has enhanced my own, even in my natural state. She thought as she moved on. On the other side of the camp, Team 9 was just as effective. Tenten hanging back with Nami fired kunai and shuriken with the bow user as they opened up a path for Neji and Lee. Behind the girls, Gaara was focusing and soon the enemy ninja were encased in sand and pulled underground. Some were LD by spikes of hard sand and one unlucky nin came close to Hinata, found a sand clone of Gaara that encased him in sand and intoned. Sand coffin. The blood seeping out was soon swallowed by the sand as it collapsed. Nami's arrows found their marks, hitting enemy ninja in the TS, between the eyes, and an unlucky ninja was caught in the groin, which paused the combat as Neji, Lee, Itachi, Kakashi and Gaara paused and looked at the lavender-haired girl who looked at them and said, boom. The poor ninja was blown to pieces. The men made the choice to avoid pissing her off after that point. In the middle of the camp, the Naruto army was dealing death in many forms. Many of the clones' mechadisciples puffed away and they were using kunai after the initial attack. And while the surprise had been effective, the center of the camp was still packed with talented ninja. Naruto smiled, his chakra blades slicing through the defenders with ease. When he found himself surrounded, he'd use a Vunla wave and scatter the enemy nin with but a slight mental push. the purple and orange blades humming as they cut a path of destruction. Nothing the invading ninja did seemed to be able to stand up to the strange blades. Naruto heard the word Raijin spoken, and in a way it was flattering. Summoning jutsu. Naruto turned to see one of the Iwa ninja in the group summon a stone gargoyle, him. The ninja screamed before an arrow from Nami went right in his mouth and knocking him backwards, long before he hit the sand. Naruto ducked the swipe from the stone summon and used a Vunla wave to scatter more ninja before he tried to focus on the summon. He knew it was strong, but he saw it wasn't fast. It's based on raw power. He thought as he dodged several claw swipes and his blades leaving gouges in its rock-covered Naruto wasn't able to go on the offensive as several ninja were keeping him on the defensive while the gargoyle recovered from its missed attacks. Kaiten. The enemy ninja were and Naruto saw Hinata was there, her eyes blazing with fury. Several arrows were embedded in the gargoyle and Nami launched several more. Naruto and Hinata moved back, seeing that the rest of the camp was nearly Lee. Neji and Kakashi were chasing down the ones trying to escape. Tenten was at their side along with Gaara. It's not slowing down, the weapons mistress said, looking at the approaching gargoyle as it fought against the sand as it sand down with every step to its ankle. It's AS summon, Gaara says. The summoner uses his or her chakra to power it, and even with the summoner it will keep coming until it is destroyed. Naruto deactivated his blades and hung them on his belt. He saw Tenten watching them and smiled. Sorry Ten-chan, but they're specially made for me. He then looked at the others. I might not have mastered the Kamehameha like Micah, but I do have an ace up my sleeve that I mastered with a ton of training. The others watched as he focused and a ball of swirling chakra formed in the palm of his hand. The Yondaim's original technique that I learned in less than 3 weeks. Naruto said, turning back to the gargoyle that had more arrows in it as Nami wasn't giving up on trying to bring it down. Naruto lunged as it got in range. Rasengan. X. Rasengan. The poor gargoyle never knew what hit it, as the powerful attack bore into its torso, chipping away at it like it was tissue. Gaara created sand clones that grabbed its arms to keep it from attacking Naruto while he destroyed its body. Hinata kept an eye out for an enemy ninja and could see Itachi guarding Nami now. In the distance, Neji and Kakashi could be heard as they cut down the retreating ninja. But none of that mattered as the gargoyle was destroyed in an explosion as the Rasengan reached its core and shards of gravel flew everywhere. Kaiten. Hinata spun, shielding herself and Tenten from the debris. When she stopped, she looked. Naruto. Wave. Orochimaru was pissed. He'd lost a quarter of his forces here in Wave. Someone will say very painful death for this. This I command. Sasuke looked at the smoldering bridge. His eyes wide at the thought that he'd nearly led the ninja onto the bridge in his arrogance. I can't believe the Dobe blew up the bridge, he muttered. Sakura next to him shook her head at the Uchiha's stupidity. All we need is his body. I wonder if Lord Orochimaru will let me destroy his foolish mind. It's not like he uses it, was the thought from the pink-haired double agent's mind. Double agent as she betrayed Konoha for Danzo, and then unknown to Danzo, betrayed him to work for Lord Orochimaru. Patience girl. Not much longer and we'll have all we want, and we won't need to pretend any longer. Her sickly yellow-green eyes looked at her new master and saw him raging about the attack. Of course there are times he's not that bright either. But then my other persona was a rabid fangirl who thought Sasuke-kun here was the end all be all of the world. Cha. Glad I destroyed that one. We'll need another one soon. Especially if I run into that Hyuga whore. Shang the sorcerer stood impassively looking at the burning bridge. I want the ones WHO did this, TD, Ked. Orochimaru was ranting. I want them pounded into the ground. I want them pummeled, pulverized, gutted, eviscerated, their eyes gouged, crucified, go red, burned. I want them Shang nodded at the impressive list. Orochimaru, while a fool for his master, was inventive fool. Micah laughed as he watched the snake Sannin have a temper tantrum. He heard what the Hebi team wanted done to him and shook his head. At least he doesn't want to army. Oh, wait, that's what the Uchiha is for. Naruto says he's become Orochimaru's personal sea puppet. Shaking his head at the unwanted and unneeded image, he watched as Orochimaru settled down and ordered his army back the other way. The going for the mountain pass. Good. Phase 2. He was lifting off into the air when the kunai caught him in the hip and he fell to the ground below. Well, look at what we have here. Micah looked up and saw Orochimaru there. How? The Sannin sneered. I felt your chakra pulses, boy. Who are you? It doesn't really matter, as you will be but I would like to know the name of the fool who attacked my army. I'm boned, Micah thought, looking up at the Sannin. Outside Konoha, Asuma was fighting for his and his team's life against the man the Haruno had called Hidden, while the others dealt with the man called Kakazu and the Haruno escapees. Your life is forfeit, my god shall be pleased with your s. Asuma was really cursing his habit of smoking. The battle was dragging on too long and he was having a bit of a time keeping up with the S-class nin. He'd read Jiraiya's bios on the Akatsuki and knew this man was dangerous. His trench knives here getting heavier, and he knew that if he didn't end this soon he was going to be S and his team soon after. Fang over Fang. Kiba and Akamaru's attack bought him some time as Hidden backed up to avoid getting hit. Kiba and Akamaru put themselves between Asuma and Hidden. Hey Smokestack, you trying to piss off Kurenai-sensei and get ked? Kiba said. Stow it, Kiba, Ino said as she joined them. What are you two doing here? Asuma asked, not that he wasn't thankful, but he thought they were helping the others. The other Akatsuki members escaped, Shika and Choji along with the Anbu are dealing with the Harunos. Ino said to her team leader. Hidden smiled. More SS. My lord will be most pleased. However, before the Akatsuki member could do anything he was dragged into the ground. What the hell? Kiba snarled. Come back here, coward. Kiba, Asuma said. He was just as surprised as. Before Ino could finish saying whatever it was she was going to, a geyser of blood erupted from the spot where Hidden had vanished from. Oh gross, Ino said, taking several steps back. A figure burrowed out of the ground and looked at Kiba, Asuma and Ino. Akatsuki and its members are not your concern. The masked figure said and then vanished in a puff of smoke. Who was that? I don't know, Ino. Whomever it was has a grudge against the Akatsuki. Asuma said. What was that symbol on its chest? Kiba asked. And Akamaru says whomever it was smelled like a freshly dug grave. Asuma shook his head. Something to worry about later. We have Harunos to deal with and Konoha to prepare for war. The three ninja and K9 returned to the battle that had shifted away while they'd been dealing with Akatsuki member Hidden, and they leapt to the trees to get back there quicker. Amongst the dunes, Naruto. Hinata was at the blonde's side in an instant. He is laying bleeding from a gut wound. The gargoyle's talon embedded into him. Cough, looks, cough, like it, cough, got in a, cough, lucky shot hin, cough, Arta-chan. Naruto was becoming pale and his breathing was becoming shallow and uneven. Hinata hit the pressure points several times and finally got the claw to release its grip and pulled it from Naruto's stomach, which caused him to scream in pain. Hinata activated her Byakugan and scanned him as she started to use her medical training to heal him. Why isn't this healing? She demanded. Kakashi was there, and why isn't Naruto's healing factor dealing with it? The former Junin turned Genin, grabbed the claw and examined it. He saw some yellow substance under the nails of the claw. Poison of some kind, Kakashi said. Here, Nami said, handing her a vial. What is it? An all-purpose antidote. My tribe made 'em as we dealt with a lot of poisonous fiends. Hinata poured the antidote down Naruto's tea, and his breathing, which had been shallow, steadied, and soon his healing factor kicked in and his color returned to his cheeks. We need to get back to Suna. Itachi said. Yeah, the main force has got to be wondering about their runners. Kakashi agreed. He picked up Naruto in a fireman's carry and Hinata grabbed his blades, hooking them to her belt as they leapt away. Gaara at the top of the dune looked at the carnage and formed his hand. Sand from around the camp rose up and in a tidal wave buried the bee. It took him 2 more times to bury them properly, and Gaara cursed missing mother, but not the mental anguish. He looked at the scene once more and then followed the others. All of them concerned for Naruto, and the thought that the invading army was armed with poisons that could stop a Jinchuriki from healing was not lost on any of them. Orochimaru has been very busy. Itachi thought. What has he planned for you, little brother, is what I'm wondering. Are you his, or do you retain your own thoughts? They bounded over the desert faster, heading back to Suna than when they left, keeping low to the ground. The war for Suna was approaching. Danzo's forces wouldn't know what hit them, or so they hoped. Suna. Prepare the ballista. Gaara ordered. They'd been waiting for a day and they saw Danzo's group coming over the horizon. Catapults ready, Kankuro said, watching the flags. Are you sure we can't meet 'em out there? Naruto asked. He'd been going crazy since waking up in Suna's hospital, and it took kissing Hinata senseless and sneaking out while she was dazed before he got to the wall with the Kazekage. Hinata had not been pleased and the Suna nin laughed seeing Naruto backing up from the shorter woman, his tails and fox ears drooping as she scolded him like a small child. Nami shook her head. She'd raided the armory and gathered more arrows. Granted, her quiver was spelled to never run out, but she lay the arrows on the wall and her eyes picking her targets from here, she knew she would outfire the Suna archers. Pass the word, we hold them at the wall, and do what we can, but draw back and lead them into the traps. Gaara reminded them. Suna was going to fall, that was certain, but it would fall on the defenders' terms. Can anyone join this shindig, or is it a private party? They all turned and saw a battered and bleeding Micah lowering from the sky. Micah. Naruto was at his brother's side and looking him over. What the hell happened to you? Micah was a mess. His clothes were burned, torn and barely hanging off him. He still had the Hanzo sword strapped to his back. His scale-covered arm was covered in grime and his arm was cut and bleeding. Naruto saw that the scales had spread to cover nearly the whole left side of Micah's torso. I stopped them, they're going to be circling back to take the mountain pass. He said and coughed up some blood. What happened to you? Nami asked, watching as Hinata worked on healing him and wrapping what she could. Took on a Sannin, an Uchiha, a pink-haired bee and a dark sorcerer. The others looked at him. What? Naruto yelled. Micah sighed and accepted the healing potion from Nami. He downed it and sighed. Well, after I evacuated Wave and blew the bridge. Flashback. Well, look at what we have here. Micah looked up and saw Orochimaru there. How? The Sannin sneered. I felt your chakra pulses, boy. Who are you? It doesn't really matter, as you will be but I would like to know the name of the fool who attacked my army. I'm boned. Micah thought, looking up at the Sannin. He rolled to the side, avoiding the foot stomp that would have crushed his head, and rolled to his feet. Fast. The Sannin sneered and Micah knew he had to get out of here quick. He fired off several punches and kicks, but Orochimaru blocked them. Well trained. But you aren't wearing a headband. Micah stayed quiet. Last thing I need is to give him any information. Micah avoided several strikes, but Orochimaru slipped past his defenses and a kick sent him flying and he rolled. He'd landed in full view of the army. And in full view of that Kami damned Sharingan. Micah cursed again and did a handspring kick and managed to clip Orochimaru. Sadly, it was a mud clone and dissolved. The army started to circle them. I'm boned. Micah dove as several kunai flew at him and he saw Sasuke was heading towards him now. And the pink-haired chit has got to be Sakura from Naruto's description. Micah was not liking his odds. No, Orochimaru said, stepping into the circle. I wish to see what kind of defender Konoha has given these fools. Keeping the army back, but leaving him with its leaders. Micah smirked. Who said I worked for Konoha? Keep them guessing. He sent a hail of senbon needles at Sasuke and leapt to the air. Twisting about, he barely managed to avoid a return volley of shuriken from Sakura. Your Sasuke said, and his hands went to the seals. Fire style, Phoenix fireballs. Micah twisted and landed, avoiding some, but a few caught him. He rolled on the ground, putting him out. I can't use my wind, it'll tip him off. Okay, Melwasu, think. Micah found himself in a taijutsu battle with Sakura. He blocked a hit from her and felt his arms groan. Damn, she's strong. He responded with a headbutt and sent her stumbling back. Sadly, he had no chance to catch his breath as Sasuke was there with more fire jutsus and he was once more twisting and turning to avoid getting hit. He spun right into a kunai attack from the now recovered Sakura. And then a roundhouse kick from Orochimaru sent him rolling across the ground. Many of the ninja in the army were laughing and he heard some of them placing bets on how long he'd last before begging for death. I don't beg, unless you're a hot chick or Nami, not thinking of her right now. I don't need the distraction. Micah's hands blurred, earth-style, rock missile. A clump of the ground heaved up and then shattered into pieces the size of a kunai and sped towards those attacking him. Orochimaru was just as quick with a mud wall and Sasuke sent another fireball at him. Bastard is a pyromaniac. Micah cursed and fired off a shuriken at Sakura and landed. Orochimaru was smiling and Micah knew that couldn't bode well. Impressive little ninja. But you have no hope of winning here. Winning? Who said I was here to win? Micah sent a chakra pulse out and another shrapnel bomb went off, causing the invaders to scramble. Micah leapt to a rooftop, but found Orochimaru waiting for him. Don't you have anything better to do, like molest your sea puppet Uchiha? Micah asked as he completed another jutsu. Water style, water whip. This was draining as there was no water right there and he was forced to draw it from the air, but he didn't. He snapped the water whip at the snake Sanin, forcing him to leap back. You are well trained. Join me. Nah. Besides, if you say it is my destiny or say you're my father, I'll pimp slap you. Micah said and snapped the water whip again, missing the Sanin, but that left a hole in the roof where he'd been. Shuriken barrage. Micah cursed for getting the damn Uchiha and took several throwing stars to the back and his right shoulder before getting away. He landed on the ground and avoided Sakura's chakra scalpel, and tripped her up with the water whip, entangling her ankles together and sending her crashing to the ground hard. Micah flipped away as he avoided another fireball. Don't you know anything else, Uchiha, or is your mind too small to process anything other than that? Idiot, don't antagonize them more. Look for a way out. Try this, Sasuke said, and his hands went into overdrive. Rat, boar, tiger, horse, slug, s. Micah avoided the attack, but where it hit was dissolving as the acid attack ate into the building behind him. Acid spray. He muttered. I can't keep this up. Micah snapped the water whips together and focused his will. They solidified and formed a javelin which he tossed and smiled as he caught the Uchiha in the shoulder, dropping him to the ground. Sadly, Orochimaru was there and Micah was under attack by the snake attacks. Snake hand, damn it. Several fangs entered his right arm, and he felt it going numb. Micah used the claw of his left hand to S through them and he leapt back onto another roof. Greetings, young dragon. Micah turned to see the cloaked form of the sorcerer standing there, hands folded into the billowing sleeves of the black cloak. Hi. The sorcerer's hand struck out and lightning hit Micah in the chest and sent him flying. He landed, leaving a trench with his impact. He lay there twitching a bit as the shock of being hit by lightning was running through his system. Bloody thing, hell that hurt. Micah roared. He rolled onto his side and coughed up some blood, his draconian eyes seeing his four tormentors coming towards him. Fight back. Wait, who said that? I did. Use my power. Wield me like I'm supposed to be. Draw me forth and name me. Okay. Micah's left hand drifted back towards the Hanzo sword. It was the only thing he could think of. Great, not only do I have a spirit of QB bossing me around, now I have a sword that's telling me what to do. Draw me if you wish to live. Okay. Don't be pushy. His hand closed on the hilt and he felt something deep inside. As he pulled, he knew what he was going to say. Sing for me, blade of the fallen angel, I name thee, Stormbringer. As he drew the blade, there was a flash. Micah studied it and saw slight currents of wind and lightning flickering around the blade. Micah saw the blade seemed to be coated with frost and he could swear he heard thunder clap when he named it and drew it forth. What the hell? Stormbringer IB, what is my purpose? Purpose. To defend the weak, to right the wrong, to protect those precious to me. To stop evil. Let those that stand against you feel my wrath. Why the hell did you activate now and not earlier? I was in hibernation. Now, to battle. Micah sighed as he looked at the four opponents. Orochimaru sneered. Oh, little ninja has a sword. He opened his jaw and disgorged grass cutter. Micah shook his head. I can't play around anymore. I need to get to Konoha. No. Join your brother and mate. Your strength will be needed there. Micah didn't argue. He blocked the lunge from Orochimaru and noticed one thing, the Sannin might have the blade, but he was no swordsman. He wields it like a kunai. Micah pushed him back and got a kick from the leader of Oto for his troubles. Sasuke and Sakura attacked then in sync. Micah dodged their attacks, but the sorcerer tagged him with some sort of cutting spell. You are low on energy and hurt. You need time to heal. Rejoin your mate and brother, young draconian. Yeah, how? They're keeping me pretty busy, I'll be cut down if I try to run. Use my power. I have enough for one attack for now. The information flooded his mind and Micah smiled. Orochimaru saw this and wondered what could make the silver-haired ninja do that as he was outnumbered and surrounded. I will study his body and learn its secrets. Those scales blocked and absorbed Sasuke's fire attacks when it hit. Orochimaru was pulled from his thoughts as Micah leapt into the air and hung there. Impossible, he said as the young man was standing on air. Wind scar. Micah roared and cleaved the blade down in the air. 4 waves of chakra and wind tore down towards them. Orochimaru managed to use a substitution jutsu with a ninja at the back of the army, as did Sasuke, Sakura and Shang. Sadly, the 4 ninja that replaced them were obliterated as the attack hit, causing a huge explosion, and took out several rows of ninja that were watching. As the smoke cleared, Orochimaru looked around and saw that the silver-haired teen was gone. Sasuke was fuming. I shall K him and take his power so I can K Itachi. Sakura stepped out from behind the debris of a building unharmed. Her sickly green eyes were thoughtful on the battle. I've seen him before. I feel like I should remember him, but, she shook her head not caring and went to check on Lord Orochimaru. Shang stood further away, his features hidden by the shadow mist. His talon hands clenched in his robes. A draconian, here. Master must be informed. This changes everything. In the sky, Micah rocketed towards Suna, his wounds feeling the strain of the wind around him. His one thought was that he'd been lucky. Stormbringer was silent. End flashback. And that's what got me here. Micah finished telling them and smiled at Hinata as she finished healing him up. My reserves were so low, I couldn't heal up, and I'd used the senzu beans in preparing the defenses. Naruto reached into his pouch and handed one to Micah. We really need to grow some of these, the blonde kitsune said. Micah swallowed it and sighed as he felt refreshed and his chakra was back up to full, and with that his healing picked up what Hinata had missed. If this goes right, we can beat Orochimaru's forces to the pass and spring a trap. Kakashi said. Worry about Orochimaru's path later. Gaara said. We have Danzo at the walls. The group looked out from the walls of Suna and saw legions of ninja. Oh, good, leftovers. Micah muttered and stood. Nami pushed him back and glared at him. You rest. Change into something that's not held together by threads. They'll be there for you when you come back out, she said and gestured to him to go. Naruto snickered. Whipped. Kankuro was heard snickering into his hand as Micah passed him. I came here for this. I should have gone to Konoha. Yeah, but you would miss a glorious battle, and I got to meet your mate. Came the voice from the Hanzo sword. She's not my mate, Micah thought to the sword. Not yet in the physical sense, but you find her appealing, young dragon. Now do as your mate says, it makes things in life easier when they are happy. Micah couldn't argue with the blade on that. His life was easier since Nami entered it when she was happy. Behind him he could hear the enemy army roar and the battle for Suna began. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.